Hi everyone, today we will be taking about our top 10 action movies currently available on Netflix. Without much wasting time, let's dive right into it. Apart from superhero films, action films are perhaps the most widely consumed form of cinema around the world due to their higher entertainment value, allowing certain franchises to run into their 9th or even 10th entries and still chart out huge numbers across the globe, particularly in Asia. Due to their global appeal, about 25% of films released each year have an overlap with action pictures in an attempt at genre intermixing, making them the fodder of the people and confirming the fact in the mindset of both spectators and directors. The action genre has been immortalized by films such as Die Hard, Bond films, the Mission Impossible series, and currently in the shared era spearheaded by the John Wicks, Liam Neeson being Liam Neeson, and the Mission Impossible series still going strong. Car chases and crashes, explosions, bare-knuckled brawls, machine gun clashes, and the action hero, who is created to acquire an almost eternal image on celluloid, are now things that an action film looks almost incomplete without, and boy are we grateful. Number 10. The Watchmen, 2009. In my opinion, this is the ideal comic book adaptation. Watchmen is a dark, gritty, violent film with some nudity that more than justifies the R rating. Despite this, what makes it work so effectively, apart from the source material, is that Snyder gives it just the perfect amount of aesthetic treatment. The action sequences are brilliantly shot and edited, the atmospherics work well overall, the characterization and casting is near perfect, especially Raskak, and the story is solid. Set against the Cold War backdrop, in a world where people are growing wary of the role of vigilantes in society, which has also become a recurring theme in Snyder's Tsu. The end cut, which incorporates the tales of the Black Freighter into the main cut, is just icing on the cake. Number 9. Casino Royale, 2006. The picture that gave the world one of the best Bonds of all time in Daniel Craig, as well as ushering in a new, more grounded age of Bond flicks. All my misgivings about the film's tone and the new relationship were quickly dispelled, thanks to the fantastic parkour opening sequence, which was only exceeded by Skyfall, as I sat and allowed the film's fairly sophisticated confines and Craig's class act engulf me. The best part of the picture, however, is what has become an iconic moment for Bond films, Bond winning the high-stakes poker tournament at the titular Casino Royale. The beginning of a new era in Bond flicks, set to conclude with Bond. Number 8. Polar, 2019. If the trailer and ads haven't already made it clear, Polar is one of the year's most horrific films, with the violence bordering on torture. However, as you watch the film, you realize and begin to appreciate it for what it is, a gloriously gory B-movie adaptation of a graphic novel, centered on an absolute badass in Mads Mikkelsen. There's something appealing about older men playing veteran hitmen pulled out of retirement to confront the criminal who did this to them, an allure that hasn't faded since Taken and John Wick were built into full franchises. Polar turns up the brutality several degrees, and while it can be unpleasant at times, the absurdist humor should make you realize you're in a completely different universe. A film that delivers exactly what it promises, with no room for disagreement. Number 7. What Happened to Monday, 2017. What Happened to Monday? Puts the original in Netflix with its innovative sci-fi premise. The year is 2073, and as the human population struggles for resources in a now hungry but technologically advanced society, the government has implemented a one-child-per-family edict as a deterrent. In it, 7 identical sisters, all played by Noomi Rapace and named after the 7 days of the week, are forced to live a life in which they are only allowed to leave the house once a week, corresponding to their name, in an attempt to outwit the Child Allocation Bureau, headed by an excellent Glenn Close as Nicolette Kamen, until Monday doesn't return home. If the aforementioned narrative doesn't encourage you to watch this film, I'm not sure what will. Number 6. The Night Comes For Us, 2018. If I showed you The Night Comes For Us without the title cards at the opening and conclusion, you'd know it was the third installment in the Raid franchise of Indonesian martial arts flicks in less than 2 seconds. Tofu, on the other hand, is practically exactly that, with a tiny change in cast. Iko Uwais is terrific as Aryan once again, both in acting and martial arts, but the real star here is Joe Taslim, whose Ito has deeper reasons than any other modern action star, and his performance reflects that. Without a doubt, the fight between the two stalwarts is the best part of the picture. That is quite an achievement given that the entire picture is a relentless gore fest, featuring furious bare-knuckle, bone-shattering, brutal fighting and mayhem moments. Believe me when I tell you, be relieved to see them utilize a gun for a quick kill. The picture appears to be a cruel attempt to test the stomach of skirmish viewers, and it succeeds. Number 5. Black Hawk Down, 2001. Black Hawk Down, not your typical action film, is a wrenching documentation of a warlike situation in the declared failed state of Somalia in 1993, when close to 100 Army Rangers and Navy SEALs were sent in to capture 2 Somali warlords when 2 of their Black Hawk helicopters were shot down, and the remaining survivors had to face an entire horde of highly armed Somali gunmen. Black Hawk Down, with an ensemble cast of now famous faces and director Ridley Scott at the pinnacle of his career, is a remarkable albeit harrowing film about the hardships of war, expertly shot and performed in its most stressful moments. Number 4. Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2, 2003, 2004. When you start asking things like character development or a sane plotline from the movies, you appear to be missing the purpose of the Kill Bill films. Kill Bill is essential, unfiltered Tarantino, untethered in its total 4-hour runtime, and undeterred in his visual pursuit of creating an extremely relentless, ultra-stylistically ultra-violent martial arts revenge flick, with Uma Thurman as the wronged bride. Simply put, it is all of that and nothing more. Number 3. The Crow, 1994. The Crow is a film that is usually connected with a sense of melancholy when it is mentioned, owing to the fact that the film's principal actor, Brandon Lee, died by accident while filming. However, this does not diminish the fact that The Crow is a fantastic film. The film's backdrop appears to be primarily gothic, and the background score and cinematography are wonderfully in tune with the film's somber retribution drama. The dialogue is also brutally hitting, with a deeply philosophical undertone. The violence is also a handful, both in terms of the wrongs done to the main protagonists and the vengeance exacted from the assailants when Lee's character is reborn as the Crow. Brandon Lee gives a great but haunting final performance, one that would have been a high point in an otherwise distinguished acting career but was cut short by his untimely death. The film is a faithful reproduction of its source work, with the typical grunge and visual narrative style remaining. Number 2. Heat, 1995. Heat, with its enormous legacy, is still the best heist action film more than 2 decades later. Reuniting 2 superstars, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, on the screen is a gigantic challenge that Heat manages with ease, and Michael Mann's very plain yet effective direction ensures that you are in the thick of things, even over its nearly 3-hour runtime. For decades, this film has been regarded as a modern classic and the definitive heist action film. Number 1. The Terminator, 1984. It wouldn't be a stretch to call this film the quintessential blockbuster of the 1980s decade and the single most defining film for sci-fi and action during that decade, and even decades later. When initially seen, The Terminator from blockbuster director James Cameron was an experience unlike any other, cinematically mirrored and even surpassed by its fairly superb sequel. The picture is responsible for making Arnold Schwarzenegger a star overnight, and it is required viewing for everyone who like action flicks or decent movies. In every regard, this is a genuine classic. These are our top 10 picks action movies available on Netflix right now. Do let us know in the comments section what you think about the list. Like, comments, share and subscribe. See you next time.